notebook in your red math notebook. And today's date is March 10th. And at the top, we're going to write add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators. Now, this is a 5th grade skill, but I feel like everyone in this room is ready for this. Okay, what you have to be able to do is find equivalent fractions and convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions. Okay, so I think we're there. I think we're ready. But what did we say is the most important thing to know about adding and subtracting fractions? What did we say? Think back to yesterday's notes. What do you have to do? Mason?
Find a common denominator.
They have to have a common denominator. And we only add or subtract the numerator, not the denominator. So we're going to start with an easy one, which is just going to be like 1/5 plus 2/10. And a lot of you can probably already kind of do that in your head. So I like to write them up and down. Okay? So I need to find a common denominator. So between 5 and 10. So we know we can list them out or you can do them in your head. The first 5 multiples of 5. And when I get to the second one, it's a 10, which I already have a 10 in my denominator here. So I only need to change one fraction. So 1/5 is equal to what over 10? Okay, so who knows? 1/5 is equal to how many tenths? Connor? 2, because I can do 5 times 2 to get 10, and 1 times 2 is 2. So now instead of 1/5 plus 2/10, I have 2/10 plus 2/10, which is what? 4/10. And what do I always have to do when I'm adding fractions? Max?
Make it in its simplest form.
Simplest form. So what can 4 and 10 both be divided by? 2. So I'm going to divide those both by 2, and that is going to give me 2/5. Okay? Okay, pretty easy, right? Okay, now we're going to go with one that's just a little harder. Okay, so we're going to come down here, and this time it's going to be 3/5 plus 5/6. And there's a couple of reasons this is harder. First, I have to change both fractions, right? 5 and 6 are not multiples of each other, so I need to change both fractions. So let's just either mentally or on your paper list the first 5 multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And the first 5 multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. I don't have multiples in common, but I know my 5s well enough to know that if I go one more, that I can find a common denominator, which is 30. So I need to change both fractions to give me an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 30. Take a second and do that now. 3/5 equals how many 30ths? 5/6 equals how many 30ths? Connor?
3/5 is 18/30.
Okay.
5/6 is 25/30.
Okay, 5 times 6 is 30. 3 times 6 is 18. 6 times 5 is 30. And 5 times 5 is 25. So now I'm ready to add 18/30 plus 25/30. What do you get? 18/30 plus 25/30. What do you get? Nolan?
43/30, which as a mixed number would be 1 and 13/30.
Okay, so 43/30 is an improper fraction, and improper fractions are never in simplest form. So even though 43 and 30 really don't share a common multiple, that's still not simplest form. We need to put it in simplest form. So I do want to show you kind of another way that you can do that. So one thing that you can do, which we already know, is you can do 43 divided by 30. 30 can go into 43 one time. Subtract your 30, and that leaves you with 13. So it's 1 and 13/30. Okay? And that is a great way to do it. But if you're not super confident in two-digit divisors, another way that you can do that is this. And it's really decomposing. If I want to take out one whole, how many 30ths is that? How many 30ths make up one whole? Sam?
30.
Right. So I can actually subtract out my 30/30 and know that that's 1, and then I have 13/30 left, and it leaves me with 1 and 13/30. Okay, so there's two ways that you can do that when we have these large numerators and denominators. If it's not easy to divide, you can easily just subtract out one whole as many times as you can, and then when you have your fraction left that's not improper, that's the fraction part of your mixed number. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's two examples of adding mixed number or adding fractions with unlike denominators. Let's look at subtracting. It's very similar, except instead of adding the numerators, you're going to subtract the numerators. So let's first do 5/6 minus 2/7. Okay, who can walk me through what to do first? Who can walk me through? It's like the same 3 or 4 people that keep raising their hand. Macy. Okay, so do I need to list them out, or can someone tell me the least common multiple for 6 and 7? What's the least common multiple, Noah? 42. Go ahead and find your equivalent fractions that have 42 in your denominator. Go ahead and find the fractions. I'm waiting on a couple more hands. All right, Harper, what'd you get for 5/6? Good, because 6 times 7 is 42, and 5 times 7 is 35. What did you get for 2/7? Penelope? Excellent. So now we just have to do 35 40-seconds minus 12 40-seconds. And that is going to give us 23 40-seconds. Is that in simplest form? What can 23 be divided by? What are the factors of 23? Nolan?
So you know it can't be divided by 2, so it can be divided by
No,
23 is a prime number. So
it's prime. It's just 1 and 23, nothing else. So that is in simplest form. So we're done. Okay? So we're going to do one more. I'm going to put up the first card of your scavenger hunt. You need to keep out your red notebook to show your work in. Okay, so the girls are going to be on the orange team, and the boys are going to be on the purple team. So the girls are going to be adding, and the boys are going to be subtracting. Okay, and then later we can switch. So girls and boys, go ahead and solve your first clue with me. So this is really just for girls, but boys, go ahead and write it down. So it's 4/6 plus 1/3. Okay, raise your hand when you have the answer to 4/6 plus 1/3. Okay, Connor.
4/6 is equal to 12/18, and 1/3 is equal to 6/18, and 12/18 minus 6/18.
No, plus.
6/18.
Okay, but it's, first of all, you don't have to, you went really high on that, and second of all, you have to add, not subtract. Can we just change 1/3 to some 6? How many 6? 1/3 equals how many 6? Claire? 2/6. So now you just have 4/6 plus 2/6, which equals what? Everybody's hand should be up. Macy? 6/6, which in simplest form is 1 whole. So you're going to have an answer sheet. You're going to write this. See on the walkie-talkie it says number 1. So on the answer sheet you fill it in under number 1. Okay, girls, you will have an orange answer sheet because your answers are orange. Okay, now, if you go around the room, you're looking only at the orange cards. You need to find the one that has, in the magnifying lens, a 1. And that is the next problem to solve. Okay? When you get to the end. Okay, so the next problem to solve is the one that has a 1 in the magnifying lens. Solve them. You have to turn in your work. So you're going to have it start with a clean sheet of paper. You may have room to do it on your answer sheet. Okay, and then you're going to go to the next problem. Okay, boys, your number 1 is 4/7 minus 1/14. Raise your hand when you have the answer. Yep,
Are you supposed to still be recording?
yep. They're doing it at home too. I just have to put the cards on. What? Okay, so what do you have as your answer, McKenna? Okay, so 4/7 is equal to 8/14. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 times 2 is 8. 8/14 minus 1/14 is 7/14, which equals 1/2. So, boys will have a purple sheet, and here's what I need to see on the purple sheet. 4/7 minus 1/14. I need to see the equivalent fraction. Okay, and then I need to see your answer and your reduced answer and circle. Girls, your first one should look like this. Okay? I need to see the equivalent fraction. And I need you to reduce it and circle your answer. Okay, you should not run